That's just sports, baby.
Crowd goes wild, strawberry ice bringing fire and style. Reds, Bengals, Bearcats, all in my zone. This is my stage, my mic, my throne. Boom, like a hammer, I'm breaking the game. Strawberry ice, you're gonna know my name. Sports Talk Thunder, hear the podcast roar. Cincy's finest kicking down the door. Step into the ring where the passion ignites. Talking sports all day and all night. From the field to the court to the rowing stands. Strawberry ice with the world in my hands. Boom, like a hammer, I'm breaking the game. Strawberry ice, you're gonna know my name. Sports Talk Thunder, hear the podcast roar. Cincy's finest kicking down the door.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, Iceman, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio. And it is going to be cold here. Good thing I'm warm down here in the ice cave.
All right, shout out to my sponsors. They are Priority Lawn and Landscaping for all your lawn and landscaping needs. You need your grass cut, you need shrubbery trimmed, I don't know, you need a paper patio, you need anything, I mean anything. Landscaping required. Think Priority Lawn and Landscaping. Also, shout out to T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And of course, Meyer Window, Door, and More. I got them in my house. I highly recommend you get them in yours. They're energy efficient, great looking windows, easy to clean. Meyer Window, Door, and More. Their website is MeyerCincinnati.com. And also shout out to my favorite brewery, Moorline Lager House. Get on down there, get you some delicious Moorline beer, some delicious Moorline food. And tell them I sent you. Moorline Lager House.
That's right. We'll be back down at the Moorline Lager House. Best day brewing pregame experience at the Moorline Lager House this Sunday. It is going to be cold as shit this Sunday. Hey, I got a nice warm place for you guys to come and tailgate at. We're going to be in this big-ass fest tent at the outside of the Moorline Lager House. It's heated. There is a huge, and I mean huge, TV screen in there that they will be playing the Bengals game on. If you decide you don't want to go freeze your butt off in at the game, they'll be having the game on in there. I'll be there. We got a DJ there. We got beer. We got food. We got drinks. It's all inclusive. You can get your tickets at the Moorline Lager House Facebook page, at the Moorline Lager House website. Come on down. It's going to be a nice, warm, great time at the Moorline Lager House. Also, check out Priority Lawn and Landscape. It's going to snow. I don't know. You got properties you don't want to plow or shovel? Give up Priority Lawn and Landscaping a call, and they will take care of the rest for you. What is up to everybody in the chat? We've got Brad in there. We got Lindsay in there. We got Cornell in there, and Tony Blazin. What is going on, everybody? All right. Before we get to Robert Baker, I'm sorry I didn't do the show yesterday. I was wore out from work. I was groggy, and just it would not have been a good show if I did one yesterday. I needed some sleep and some rest. But I want to address the Joe Burrow, Jackpot Joey comments from yesterday. And I kind of did it on a reel earlier today. It's got a lot of hits on it. If you want to go back after the show, check it out. It's on Facebook, here, YouTube. It's also on TikTok. The comments, from what I have known about Joe Burrow the last couple of years, and the man I think Joe Burrow is, these are not comments that I'm thinking of retiring, like realistically thinking of retiring. These are not comments saying, I want to be traded. These are comments like it was last year. Now, remember last year, he wanted to sign T. He wanted to sign Jamar. He wanted to sign Mike G. And he also said, add some more stuff. Well, they never added anything to the team other than the guys they already had. To quote Duke Tobin, I'm not going to pay for the same team I had last year. Well, he did. It might be a slightly worse team than we had last year. What Joe Burrow is saying is a wake-up call to the front office. Like, guys, if you don't do something to make this team better, then yes, I might consider other options. He's not saying he's going to do it now, but he is doing this because he's a competitor. He wants to win. He's tired of scoring 33 points and losing. Yes, he is one of, if not the best quarterback in football. But it can't come down to a game like in Baltimore where, yes, Joe made a mistake on the first interception. The second one, it just happened. The ball bounced Buffalo's way. But the defense the Bengals still had a chance to win that game. Joe Burrow went down and he scored another touchdown. The Bengals defense had to stop the Buffalo Bills from scoring or getting a 3rd and 15. A 3rd and 15. And you have Josh Allen, who's a pretty good mobile quarterback, and nobody could keep him from running for 15 yards. That is the frustration of Joe Burrow. Not, I want to get the hell out of here. Not, I'm going to retire. No, we got to fix this. That's the frustration. And he is frustrated as probably even worse than all of us because he's the one who's got to deal with it. That's the frustration. It's not he's going to retire. It's not he wants to trade. It's not any of that. He wants to win, and he knows he can't. And ESPN cracked me up this morning. They're like, oh, well, he's tired of getting hit in this offensive line. But this offensive line is actually playing very good. It's one of the best offensive lines Joe's had. That's not the problem. He's talking about he's tired of coming back. Of course, he's tired of coming back from injuries. But he worked his butt off to come back here for this? Why not work my butt off to come back here for this? Where I can play great. They make a good play. I make one mistake, and we lose the game. And we can't stop a guy for running for 15 yards. Where you know that quarterback is capable of running for 15 yards. That's what he's irritated about. Anyway, with that being said, this is Thursday night fantasy football. So bring your questions. Who to start, who to sit, who to bench, who to cut. I don't know, maybe some of you guys are getting into playoffs here. Now, I am not the expert on this, as many of you know. I completely suck at fantasy football. But I know a guy. Here's a guy who might know a little bit about fantasy football. He's none other than Robert Banger.
What up, Ice? What up, everybody?
How are you? Well, nice to see you again.
Yeah. Long time, huh?
You in nice and warm San Diego there, and we're about to freeze our asses off here. I mean, we're real Ohioans. We at least stay here. You just gave up and went to nice sunny.
Gave up. I went to the Navy. That's where they put me. I can't help it. It was
you could have left. You could have came back. You didn't.
There was no option for them to put me in Cincinnati. Do you want to stay in Cincinnati? Like, yeah, I would stay there for sure. And then I got to San Diego and quickly realized that it was a mistake because I was like, I don't know if I want to go home except just to visit.
All right. So what's your thoughts? And stranger, you're never chopped liver. What's going on? What's your thoughts on what Joe Burrow had to say there? Do you think he's contemplating retirement? Do you think he's telling the Bengals you should trade me? What do you think Joe Burrow's saying?
No, I agree more along the lines of what you were saying, right? Like that he's just trying to more forcefully a different, slightly different route. He's using the media as like, hey, I'm competitive and I want to stay competitive. I don't like this feeling of not being competitive or basically not have anything to play for with multiple games left. Yeah. Obviously not winning, but he's trying to put that pressure on. I don't take it as like, like you said, he wouldn't have pushed for all of this last year and then just be like, all right, get me out of here. Because right. I don't think he's that type of guy. Like, right. Sorry, Jamar, sorry, T. I know you guys signed long term. I'm gonna go.
Right.
Plus him and Jamar, I basically, for better or worse, I think tied at the hip. I think if someone really paid them and it came down to it a few years from now, I could see them splitting up. But I think it'd be really hard for them to, after what they've done and built together from college to now, ever wanting to even split up. So, I think it's just Joe putting that pressure on and trying to show like, look, and everybody's like, media people, talking heads, everybody wants it. You can never make everybody happy, right? If he sat up there and he was like, he was kind of jokey Joe still, but if he was completely all jokey Joe, there'd be a whole group of people who would be like, he doesn't even care. He came back and he doesn't even care. He's talking about Pokemon and he doesn't even give a shit. And you're like, okay. So then he gets up there and he's maybe just having a day, right? Maybe he's just like, all right, I'm a little zapped, right? I did work my ass off to get back. And then, man, now we're out of it. I'm just having a little bit of a day. I'm up here talking to you guys. And, and it's like, I'm being a little bit honest with you. And everyone's like, oh my God, the sky's falling down. Some of the people are just, you could see he's ready to retire. It's like,
he just worked his butt off to come all the way back. And, I'm going to retire now. No, it's like, you guys don't know. I mean, I don't know Joe personally, but I know him as a competitor. Of what I've seen the last 5 of them 6 years, he wants to win. That's the whole point. And that's with him and Jamar G. They got their money. They're set. They want to win. That's the point. And the thing is, this defense is close to keeping them in games. Like, stop a 3rd and 15. That's got to be. I mean, I'm frustrated with it because I rewatched it and you can see. Our edge rusher is running right past Josh, and he's going whoop right up the field, going, "Hey, we're somebody stop that guy!" It's like,
oh yeah, there's a few times you could have played the pause game where you're like, the where that you see it on Twitter, like, tell me what happens after this, because it's like there's a couple times, like especially on that very final play, if you can pause it and you're like, there's no way that this is a 24-yard gain or whatever it ended up being. It's like.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, everybody that could is like just
There was this big gaping hole in the middle of our defensive line. It's just like, whoop, I'm gonna run here. I'm Josh Allen. I can't throw to wide receivers because we don't have a lot of wide receivers. You actually covered the tight end on this play. And, hey, I'm just gonna run. And nobody's there. It's like, oh my goodness. And there's this, like, just like last year, so many freaking games we should have won that the defense was better. I'm like, this is 2 years of this. Joey's got to be like, you got to be kidding me. And the thing is, like, I honestly think he might have had a conversation with somebody. Maybe. I don't know. But Joe doesn't say this stuff unless he's thought about it. He doesn't just rip off, at his hip and just fire off comments. He thought about this. He's had conversations with somebody or has a feeling that the Bengals front office think, you know what? We're good. We're on the right track. We're close. And Joe's like, no. We're close, but what you've been doing hasn't worked. You need to change something. And all right, you're not going to listen to me behind closed doors. I'm going to go tell the media and I'm going to go tell the fans like I did last year. And you guys changed. So we're going to try this again. And that's kind of what I think it is.
No, I mean, there's definitely, I mean, we talk about all the time that we don't know what the hell's going on behind the doors in that all, like, of any of the NFL franchises. But I think, like you said, you don't know Joe, but when he does put himself out there, he kind of puts it out as, right, he's a committed team guy, right, and he's going to do whatever he can to win. So I think even if they're winning, what was the game last year? Who did they play where we won, but the team played bad. Remember, he's yelling. Everybody thought he was yelling at Zach, but he was
that was Tennessee game.
Tennessee. That's who it was. Yeah. So I think that's what that's his thinking is, right? Is like, we're winning, but I don't care. Like, I'm going to push to be 17, 18, 19-0 every single year because that's the only way I can go. So I think that interview was kind of more a little bit of like, all right, I still want that, but like I said, he was still feeling a little bit of the downs, right? Like, all right, we're not doing it, but you've got to keep yourself motivated. And he's trying to tell him, like, right, kind of talk himself through his thought process, right? Like, you've got to find other things, not just that when it's not there. But I don't think it meant like, all right, yeah, I'm not motivated and I'm done playing football.
Right. And that was a great point because everybody went off last year. Oh my God, see him yelling at Zach Taylor. He is so done with Zach. He wants him fired, and it had absolutely nothing to do with that. He wasn't mad at Zach. He's mad at the whole team the way they're playing. It had nothing. That's a great point. It had nothing to do with that. And it goes. And I Cornell, I love you. I do. You're a contributor. But how is this? And I love this comment. But how is this a Zach Taylor thing? To me, this is a Duke Tobin thing. Our defense is not good enough. I'm like, you want to fire Zach? Fire him. I still think you're going to have the same problems because our defense isn't good enough. It's not talented enough. They changed coaches. They changed defensive coaches. The same problem we had last year, we had this year is our defense. And everybody's like, oh, it's Zach Taylor's problem. No, you don't have enough talent on defense. Like, we can't stop anybody. We are 3-7. I think maybe it's 3-8 now. In the last 2 years, we've scored 33 or more points. That's talent. You don't have enough talent to win.
Yeah, I think it's 7, and I think the rest of the NFL is like 148-10. We are almost as much as the rest of the NFL. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I know we've talked about it, and I think we talked about this maybe even the last show, where I'm not a Zach Taylor, table, I'm not banging the table for him. I'm not necessarily, because I don't necessarily think, we were talking about, we don't know where the problem is. So it's hard for me to say.
No, I know what the problem is. The problem is drafting and developing, and we didn't sign any free agents. That's the problem.
Yeah, but then we've talked about too, and I'm all for, and I'm agreement with you, right? We do need to get, not necessarily against Duke, but we do need to get Duke out, get a full-on GM in there. We talked about that plenty. But my only kind of way to look at it for Duke is like, if he's in the same similar boat, right? Because I think Joe Goodberry was talking about when he was like, do you think Tobin, who drafted Jesse Bates, wanted to let him go? Like, there's sometimes where you're like, that's where I think we were, I think exactly what we were talking about last week, right? Where it's spread around enough to where we don't exactly know who we want fired. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we just want to make a change because we're like, the defense needs to get going. And I don't know if it's the drafting or if it's Duke picking or who's picking, or if it's.
Well, we don't know because we don't have a GM. I mean, there is nobody listed as the GM. And I'll go back. I want to answer Cornell here. I've seen, teams scheme up with lesser talent. Well, okay. Well, you're saying it's coaching. Well, they changed again. I'll say this again. The problem, and Zach is the offensive coordinator. So the problem is not the offense. The problem is the defense. They changed defensive coordinators. So that defensive coordinator, now the defense, in my opinion, has gotten better, but it hasn't been good enough. So again, is that, and everybody falls on Zach because he's the head coach and he did this, which it does. And again, but I just hate where everybody's just like, you know what? Go get a new coach and that's going to fix everything. That's not the core of the problem. The core
now, where I would
developing that's where I'm trying to get to, because the low hanging fruit is fire Zach, fire this. They fired Lou, and look, Lou went to Indy. Oh, he's got more talent, and his defense is pretty good. That's what happens. Like Bill Belichick loses Tom Brady. Oh, they're not as good. You gotta have talent. You have to. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the only thing I would say for Lou was like it kind of came across like that he was forced with Zach right at that time when they were trying to do the hire for that whole bringing the team together and everything, right? Mm-hmm. Not that Zach didn't want him, but it was kind of like it wasn't his guy almost, right? The only thing I will say is that Al is definitely Zach's guy. Another thing Joe was talking about is that even if you targeted Al and you already knew that's who I want, right, going into the offseason, right, we're going to let Lou go, we want Al. They still didn't even do a quarter, 10% of the due diligence they should have done at looking at some other people and just going, we want Al, but man, we met this guy and man, he just, as opposed to going, nah, we just want this guy. Like,
I'll say this too, is like one of the biggest problems of last year's team was safety. They didn't address the safety at all. That's it. If you look at what, all right, we'll go to the offensive side of the ball. They addressed the guards. I didn't like how they did it, but it worked. Dylan Fairchild is fine. Dalton Reisner is fine. Our offensive line is pretty damn good. They addressed that. I'll give them credit for that. They didn't address an edge rusher. Okay, they signed Trey, but that hasn't worked out because they completely screwed that whole thing up and pissed him off. They didn't address the safety room. They should have gotten another veteran linebacker in there other than Oren Burks. They should have got a starting one. They didn't address this in free agency. And then you go and you draft Shamar Stewart, who's a project. Well, I banged the drummer. Elijah Campbell was sitting there. Malachi Starks. There were other guys sitting. I keep saying those two. Those two always stand out to me. There are other guys sitting there that you could have drafted that could have been an immediate impact player. They didn't do that. That's the core of the problem. You can fire Zach. You can clean house. But if you don't fix this problem, which is drafting and developing and adding talent to your team, you're going to run into the same problem, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely one of the biggest problems we've had, right? Your lack of drafted talent, and when you do bring it, you're not developing. So it's like, all right, we're not doing either one of where we should be. Can we bring in a talented player, and then all right, we're not developing him? Like,
Right,
but no, we're
exactly.
picking under. I don't want to say under. They're talented. You're getting drafted in the NFL, but where there's better players available who clearly have gone on to do good. And you're like, why are we not following consensus or trying to follow consensus more? Why are we always trying to be the smartest guys in the room?
Right. Exactly. Take the layups. All right. We got a couple fantasy questions here in here. I don't want to just
fantasy playoffs starting this week.
All right. So Nick here says Pitts, Evans, I can't say that word, or Rodriguez.
Monanjai.
Sure.
No, it's Monangai.
Monangai.
Yeah, I always say Monangai.
I'm like, I know it. I just can't get it in my brain to say it. Monangai.
Is this for one spot, Nick, or Rodriguez? That's got to be Rodriguez from the Commanders.
He doesn't say that's all he's got on there. So maybe Nick, you can elaborate on that question a little bit.
Let me know if it's one or two. If it's just one, let's see.
We got another one here. We can answer.
Yeah, let's look.
Should I play
Egbuka?
Thank you. Or T. Higgins this week?
Well, I mean, Evans is coming back, so I don't know what he's going to look like coming back from injury. Egbuka has obviously been top receiver down there for Baker Mayfield this year. And the only reason I'd say T. Higgins would scare me again is 2 straight weeks of those kind of head injuries, or not 2 straight weeks, but back-to-back kind of head injuries. So any kind of knock, I think there's a chance that they pull him out right this week. Like, oh, they're not, because they got a lot of crap, right? How did you let him come back in last week? So
and he balled out too.
yeah. He still, and that's what they said afterwards. He was still catching one-handed, passes. So, if for this week, we know Jamar's a Baltimore. He's a Raven killer. So, Jamar's going to want to come back because he had kind of a down week last week. So I tend to lean that this is going to be more of a Jamar week. Now, we know how that goes. Sometimes it's however they kind of dictate it. But so I would lean Egbuka a little bit on that side. But that's a good problem to have right there, honestly, because I still think Egbuka gets number 1 targets with this only being Evans' first game back.
Okay. Nick came back and said, my number 1 flex spot.
Oh, okay. So it was
here it is. Pitts.
Yeah, you got Pitts, Evans, guy, Rodriguez. I mean, it's tough. I normally don't like to go with split running backs, but Monangai's been doing pretty good. Him and Swift have been doing a good split there. So Rodriguez would be my second there. The offense has been a little shaky. I don't know what's going on. With Jaden Daniels got hurt last week. They said he could have been okay. What's going on with that this week? So that's the only thing that scares me there is if they end up switching quarterbacks again in the middle of the game, that affects the offense. So
right.
I would lean Monangai or Monangai, whatever. Monangai.
All right. Let's see here. My son, Transformer Freak Guy, which I told him he should just change it to Chandler, says Stafford or Hurts.
I got Stafford is one of my
Stanford.
Stafford. In honor of you, I was like, I'm going to call out a couple of locks that I have for this week. So I was like, I've got Stafford's one of the players I think is going to have a good week. He's going against the Lions, obviously. There's some history there. So, he's going to want to perform, good. They're not doing very good against opposing quarterbacks. They've been bottom 5 all year against opposing quarterbacks. So, and not to mention the fact Stafford's thrown 35 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. So I think Stafford's going to have a big game. And the Lions haven't been pretty good against opposing wide receivers. So spoiler alert, Puka Nacua is on my bullish list for wide receivers this week as well. But my other stardom player, since we're talking about it this week, is I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is set up to have a pretty good game against the Colts this week. So they're allowing over 23 points per week to opposing wide receivers. And obviously we know Jackson Smith and Jigba has just been a target monster. And seems like he's averaging 175 yards a week. So
that's it.
But yeah, I'd go Stafford over that. So especially Jalen Hurts coming off that 5 turnover game. It's gonna be a cold game for you know how it's gonna be out there. So
he turned the ball over twice in one play. I don't know. You don't see that.
How's that possible?
I don't know, but he did it. All right, get back to some of the other questions here about the defensive stuff. Keep bringing your fantasy questions. We will definitely get to them. Chris here, I just don't understand this defense. They literally get to practice 11 versus 11 with one of the best technical QBs ever. How do they not get better, or is Burrow a company destroying our D in practice? Well, I'll put it to you this way: our D has actually gotten better. They went from crap to a little above crap, so they've gotten better over the last couple of weeks. So yeah, they do get better. It's still not good enough. That's the thing. That's the whole problem. Is it's not, and that's where I got irritated with the Bengals, where I said this a million times on the show. I saw their plan. I didn't like their plan. Their plan was Al Golden is going to be a miracle worker, and he's going to get all these first and second round picks we got on defense to play better. Well, he has, but we're at the end of the season by the time it's gotten to that point. Not like I said, it's still not good enough because we still don't have enough talented players there. We don't get consistent pressure on the quarterback. I mean, the only one's getting really consistent pressure on the quarterback is Joseph Ossai. Miles Murphy is to an extent, but you need a rotation. You need multiple guys in there. You need more people in there. We have no pressure up the middle. You know, we don't. I mean, BJ Hill, God love BJ Hill. He's not the player he was before. We need a stud guy in there next to TJ Slayton to get pressure up the middle. We don't have that. You know, you need a linebacker who could go side to side and I don't know, cover a tight end. That might help. You know, we don't have that. Those are some pretty big holes. You can't coach up. I don't care what defense coordinator you got. If you don't got a guy who can cover a tight end at all on your defense, it's pretty hard to cover a tight end. And like I said last week, the very first play of the Bills game was to a tight end. I guarantee you, the very first play Sunday that the Ravens pass the ball on, it's going to be a pass to the tight end because we can't cover them. So,
no, yeah, it's funny. It's at some point, right? We're like, we see it. Do you not see it? Can you? What do you guys got to do? But you can't make them make the plays when they're out there too, right? So, like that little somebody was talking. I don't remember. I've been watching. You know, I always watch so many damn shows and all the talk about everybody. Right. Somebody was talking about how their eyes are so bad, and it just gets them out of position. And it's true because they're just so stuck on trying to. All right, I gotta get up here that they're not like kind of fully feeling the play. Go.
Yeah.
So
exactly. They have no feel for the game. It's just like when I talk about that 3rd and 15. They're like, all right, we're gonna get up the field and go get Josh, and he runs right by him. Like you don't sit there and think that guy could run for a first down. Like that.
Yeah, you get to that depth, and then you've got to, you got to stop trying to push instead of thinking I'm going to be the hero and I'm going to
contain him. Just all you have to do is contain him. If you guys could contain him in there and not let him run, or if he does run, there's somebody there to tackle him. There wasn't anybody there. It was a huge hole.
Well, they still, and what's funny is they still got a couple sacks by just getting a little bit of pressure. If we could get just a little bit more consistent pressure, you could just help the defense out just a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and people are like, we got to blow this whole thing up. Like, you really don't have to blow this whole thing up. That's like, if you actually watch these games, the margin of victory is razor thin. You just got to make a couple more plays, which that means, to me, you got to get more talented players. And that's what the Bengals need to do, especially on defense. All right. Thanks for the $9.99 super chat from MB34012.
What up,
Fire
MB?
Zach Tabor. Fire Zach Tabor. Fire Tobin. Get a coach that demands greatness and real football. Guys as GMs. If that doesn't happen this offseason, we're seriously not about winning. Because you gotta have a football guy. You gotta have that guy grits his teeth. That's really gonna motivate professional football players. Exactly. Thanks for the comment. I don't agree. That's what we have to do. You got that talent. You got to have talent. You can't. Guys are only as good as guys are. That's it. If they're not talented enough, they're not talented enough. Fuzzy balls.
Yeah, you can only demand so much. It doesn't, I can.
Yeah, they can only do what they can do. If they're not that good, they're not that good.
I'm pretty sure Zach isn't, like I said, I'm not a huge Zach, not or either way, right? But I'm pretty sure Zach isn't going out there like, all right, let's go blow this in the fourth quarter, guys.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, Cancun.
All right, let's go, man. We've got 5 more weeks to just get. Oh, have you guys planned it already?
Yeah, Joe, just throw an interception. Let's get the hell out of
Can
here.
you imagine Joe Burrow's face if somebody even said that? Like, just being like a competitive person at all. Like,
He'd be done. He'd be done. Fuzzy Ball is $6 for $5 super chat. The 2026 draft is loaded, exactly, with defensive talent, but we have to draft so much better. Yes, I mean, and the thing is, it's defense. Like, if you look at the offense, when we draft offense, we actually can do that pretty well. We can't draft defense, which I will give them credit. And we've said it for years, they couldn't draft offensive linemen. They got it right on Fairchild, and I think they got it right on Rivers. I do think next year, I think you re-sign Reiser, but I think you let Rivers and Reiser fight it out for the right guard spot. And that's the third thing crap me up. Guys on ESPN were like, oh, well, he's been the most hit quarterback, and I think Patrick Mahomes actually gets hit more, according to what Bengals captain has said. And they're like, oh, he's tired of getting hit. He's tired of like, have you been watching the games? Because he hasn't been getting hit. Yes, he got hit, but it's football. You're going to get hit, but the offensive line pass blocking has actually been pretty good.
And we've talked about it, and Joe's actually said it in some interviews before, right? Like he tries to extend plays. He tries to keep it going, which is going to lead to him getting hit more because he's not throwing it away right when he should sometimes. Now, I think we've said it too. Like, yes, do we want him to throw it away more? Because we're like, Joe, please. But right. I don't think Joe's mind. I think we even actually said that same exact thing. That's not in Joe's mind. It's never like
he's not scared to get hit.
And if he tries to change that, then I think it changes how Joe plays completely. Which is the play isn't over until you tear my toe tendon.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So you think Zach's going to lead us to the Super Bowl? He can. He's already done it. So yes, I do think Zach can lead us to the Super Bowl. Yeah. I mean that's a killer. Do people forget that? And I'm not defending Zach, but everybody keeps going. It's low hanging fruit. Fire Zach. That's not the problem. We don't have enough talent on the defense side. Just go watch the damn game.
We were in a spaces.
We were in the wrong spots. The guys aren't fast enough to get there. Good.
No, we were in a spaces earlier, and we were talking about that same thing this morning. And I don't remember who brought it up. We were talking about what coaches would you guys want if they do let Zach go? And people threw out some names, and then Joe Goodberry made a good point. He said, like the people you're mentioning are making 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 million a year. And some of them are making more as coordinators than Zach is as a head coach. He's only making 4.2. And that's after a raise with taking the team to a Super Bowl. So if they fire Zach, most of the people that we would think, right, let's bring in Vance Joseph or whoever, some of these names that people have thrown out, like
John Gruden,
whoever, like you're most likely they're going to want 4 or 5 million at least and control. Yeah. So if they fire Zach, I'm not a Zach or a company guy. I'm a freaking Bengal fan that wants to win. Like that's all I care about.
We're Bengals fans that live in reality. We know what the situation is and what they have to work with.
But if they bring in somebody else who knows who the hell they're bringing in, then that person, I don't know, that came out like that person there they have to establish their new culture. We have to go through any kind of growing pains. That's one of the only reasons I'm not for it, because Joe just turned 29. We're already going through a lull. I don't want to go through another year or two of growing pains. Now you can do it in a year, but man.
Well, the other thing is people keep forgetting this team hasn't quit on Zach. I mean, that would be a reason if this team quit on him, then yeah. But look at the game. They didn't quit. They were trying. They're just not talented enough on defense.
I've honestly been looking for that more this year to see if it's like that almost that Marvin last couple year tired message where you see the players like, yep, here goes Zach. He's going to say this and let's get in there. Even though Zach isn't a big rah-rah guy, I think he does a good job. But I think the reason he does a good job, and I'm not in the locker room, obviously, not that they know of, but I think the reason he does a good job is because of how he plays that players kind of coach just to kind of like the max. And he always takes one for the team. You want to talk about a company guy? Zach's a company guy.
Yeah. All right. I'll try to explain this to you again. MB34. But I appreciate the conversation there. I do. And he says, y'all need to be realistic. This formula doesn't work. That's exactly what I've been saying. What they're doing isn't working, and it's not the coaching, it's the drafting and the developing. I'll say this again, just like Bake
And
said.
retaining.
Yeah, you can have another coach and everything come in there. He's got to work in the system. He's got to do this, yada, yada. That's the way it is. But if they don't change the system, the formula, which means how they draft and develop, how they go after free agency, it's going to be the same thing. You can fire Zach. That's fine. I don't, unless they change this, because we've seen them do this. Remember in 21 and 22 or 20 when they signed free agents and they actually came in and made impacts? That's what they have to do. And they drafted well. That's what they have to do. They did that with Zach Taylor as the head coach, and they went to the Super Bowl. So, yes, it works. What they've done the last couple of years is not working. They haven't signed good free agents. They haven't drafted well. That is the problem. That's why I'm like, it's like banging my head against a wall. Like, people is like, oh, you got to fire Zach. Like, I'm not defending Zach. I'm just saying you can get a different coach, but if you don't change this part of it, it's going to be the same thing. And it's like, I just lose my mind here. People keep saying, oh, that's going to fix everything. No, it's not. You got to have talent. Anyway.
No, that was the biggest thing. Like you said, when they drafted well, but and people, I've heard people talk about it before too, right? The problem is they can't rely solely on drafting because they don't do what we just talked about, right? They don't follow consensus. They don't follow the way everybody else is saying this player's talented. We're going to take this guy Burton. He seems like we can fix him, So it's like, all right, you got, all right. If you're going to do that, then you still need to sign free agents to offset any of that development time, right? But they don't do that because now that they've paid the other players, they're like, all right, now we have to hit on the draft, and we're just going to wait and hope that those guys develop into what we need them to be so that we're
which
whatever they feel like
if you
financially, right? So they're not.
Yeah. Which is fine
but
if you hit
but
on
they
the
need
draft,
to
but they're
get
not.
back to. And that is the biggest problem, because I think they need to get back to that combo of, all right, we're drafting, taking, well, obviously, like we said, better guys that most people or the consensus says. Not that the consensus is always right, but it's pretty, So go with that, and then spend some of that damn money.
Yeah,
what?
And like, you don't have to spend a ton of it. Bring in 2 or 3 free agents that are veteran guys that could be good. All right, you're I don't know why you're lagging right now. I don't know if it's you or it's me, but we're gonna try to get this question here from Joe or Jor Jor, Pitts or Fanning, PPR league.
Fannin has been tearing it up, and I don't think Njoku's going to play this week. So, I mean, he ended up with 10 catches for 144 yards last week. So, and he's already been having a good year. And if Njoku's out, Sanders, rookie quarterbacks love that little dump off to the tight end. So I could see Fannin getting easily, double-digit targets again and 75 plus yards. I don't know if he goes for 140 again, but.
There you go. All right, MB's coming back here. Look at Matt LaFleur, who hasn't really won anything, hasn't took his team to Super Bowl. Look at Mike Tomlin, he's only won a Super Bowl with the Cowers players. Both organizations are just as frugal. Look what Vrabel and Jim Harbaugh. Vrabel, the Patriots signed like 5 defensive free agents last year. Look at Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is not doing very good. He might get fired. You're minimizing the impact of coaching. I just crush you. None of those coaches are actually really doing all that great, to be honest. So that's not a very good, honestly, comparison there.
Is he talking about Jim or John Harbaugh?
I don't know. He said Jim. Jim might be getting fired this year.
Jim's out in Jim's with the Chargers.
Oh, that Jim's okay. You're right. Jim's Chargers. Yeah, they did win a game, but I mean, he's been there for 2 years. I mean, all right. I mean, that's where I'm just.
He's also got $16 million a year contract. That's what I said. Yeah. We're not getting those guys.
And one thing, the guys he's comparing him to, I'm like, Mike Tomlin hasn't won a Super Bowl. The Steelers fans want to run him out. Matt LaFleur, hasn't done a whole. I mean, hasn't done a whole lot. And he hasn't been to a Super Bowl yet. I don't understand. I don't understand what he's talking about. Yes, you are correct. I am Zach's friend. Yes, I am. Me and he's my neighbor. I love that when people get
So Harbaugh gets 16 million a year, and Vrabel gets 14 million a year.
Take the L, dude. Take the L. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so let's do some fantasy football here. I'm done with that conversation. What is your I always messes up Bulls and Barons list? Is that what you got this week?
Bullish and bearish.
Damn, bullish and bearish.
Bullish is yeah. So yeah, bullish is this is the good. Like I said, trying to play on the money theme, but basically, because I don't like to do a start sit like type of thing. That's why I said I'm trying to more highlight matchups for you to look at. That's kind of like how I'm trying to be a little bit different. It's because there's tons of start sit lists out there, so I'm trying to pick some of the ones, especially with, like I said, fantasy playoffs starting this week. So definitely want to make sure you're making the right choices to get into the second round. So we already talked about Matthew Stafford. He's one of my top plays of the week. Jackson Smith and Jigba, another one of the players that I think is going to have a big week as far as receivers go. Christian McCaffrey going against the Titans. They're bottom 10 against running backs as far as rushing, and they're not very good against receivers. And we know CMC does kind of both. So I'd expect a big week for him, and one of those classic CMC, maybe 10 catch, 100-yard rushing and 10 catch games. Tight ends, as far as tight ends go, I don't want to bang on the obvious here, but if you've got Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely,
you're going against the Bengals, play them.
I mean, that's, Isaiah Likely, other than the fumble last time, was, had a couple big plays against us. So they've just been so bad. It's horrible. Like I said, we're almost double the points that everyone else is allowing. So, but also I think Dalton Schultz has got a good matchup this week too. So they're going against the Cardinals. So Dalton Schultz has been coming on the last couple of weeks with a little bit more of an average. He's averaging four catches the past 5 weeks. So another one in there, like I said, with some of those players you might need to swap out. So now let's go to some of the players I don't like the matchups with this week and talk about going from a swap. Last week, he was my lock of the week. It was Jordan Love, who did end up with 3 touchdowns, and what's his name? Christian Watson, who I said to play him too with his big game too. So those locks worked out. Thank you for that, Iceman, for prompting that one there. But talk about a flip of the way it is, because this week he gets to go against the Broncos. And we know the Broncos past he's been one of the best in the league this year. So if you've been starting Love, I mean, it's always tough first round of the playoffs to swap things up, but obviously, the Broncos are a tough matchup. They've been top 2 all year against opposing quarterbacks. So
we got a question here for you. Blakey wants to should I start Ibuke or Jordan Addison?
I'd still go with Egbuka. I've got Justin Jefferson, and that whole passing offense for the Vikings got me upset. But I would go with Egbuka because I still think he's going to get the first look, even with Evans coming back. I think they'll feed Evans because any chance they think he can get to that 1,000, but I still think Egbuka is going to be the one.
There's no way. I was talking to my wife's a girl in Florida. She's a Buccaneers fan. There's no way Evans is getting. He'd have to have like 200 yards a game.
Yeah.
She's like, we're me and her doing the math. She was, yeah, it's not going to happen. I said, there's no way.
That's the only reason I could see them maybe pumping him this week and feeding him. Like, all right, if he goes out here and drops 2 bills, then maybe there's a chance. But
maybe,
yeah,
that's all the lot come back from injury.
Yeah. So that's why I think Egbuka still gets the majority of those targets, and he's been tearing it up. So it's hard to go against him, man.
Right. That's the thing. It's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I mean, hey, I'm not throwing a shade on him. Maybe he could, but that would have to be one of the greatest stretches in NFL history. Because we got 5 games left.
Yeah, I mean, he's already. I mean, it's 11 straight years, right, of 1,000 yards. That's already amazing. So yeah, it's. I think it's kind of the NFL universe saying, you shouldn't be any better than Jerry Rice. Right. You could tie him, but
Well, there is going to be a guy that's going to do that. His name's Chase, but
he's always, he's just tied. He did his 5th, so he's on. it's kind of luck though too. Those type of things are kind of luck, right?
Yeah.
Because
you gotta be healthy. You
had that type of injury happen to him in his 6th or 7th season, then he doesn't get it.
All right, Paul, would you take Pickett over Hurts?
Pickett over Hurts?
You mean like the quarterback? Pickett from the Steelers and that guy? Is that what you're talking about?
That's what I'm trying to think. Like,
I would take Hurts. That's what you're talking about.
I think he's talking about because Pickett's not on the Steelers, but Pickett is he starting for the Raiders this week? I did not see that if he is.
Hold on, let me look. He's on.
He's on the Raiders, but I just hadn't seen anything about him. Well, there is stuff that looks like he might start this week. So
I take Hurts. I still take Hurts.
Yeah, I would still go with Hurts. He's coming off that. What's funny is I hadn't gotten any updates on that one at all.
Yeah, start for the Raiders. Yep.
But yeah, I would go with Hurts still. I mean, coming off that bad game, he's been amazing at not turning the ball over until last week. So you think he goes back to that. So and hopefully it's one of those bounce back games.
People crack me up. NFL fans in general just crack me up. He had a bad game. He never turns the ball over. And he had the bad game. They're like, oh my goodness, is he really that good of a quarterback? I'm like, yeah, Hurts is a good quarterback. He doesn't turn the ball over. I mean, is he an elite quarterback? I don't think he's elite. Well, he's won a Super Bowl, and he's not one of those quarterbacks. I don't consider him a quarterback. Just don't mess it up. He can.
Yeah, he's efficient.
He's efficient. He can make plays. He had a bad game. It happens. Joe Burrow just threw 2 interceptions and lost the game.
Yeah, that was It does. It definitely happens, and he's like I said, he's been efficient until then too. But it's funny though because immediately after that game, reports that the Eagles may draft quarterback, and you're like, oh my, like,
like really?
And they might, but it's like, oh man, it's what have you done for me lately?
Well, they're not gonna draft high enough to get any of the good quarterbacks. They're gonna be in the play.
Well, I mean, as far as they're concerned, they got Hurts in the 2nd round, so they, you know what I mean?
True.
They can.
Yeah, I mean, Hurts is a way better professional quarterback than I thought he was going to be. I did not think he was going to be this good. I thought honestly, I thought he was going to be a backup quarterback.
Same.
I really did. I thought Tua was going to be a lot better. If I had to make a bet when Tua got drafted and Hurts got drafted, who would win a Super Bowl first? I would have said Tua, and I was wrong. I would have lost that bet. So we'll see.
Yeah, which if you would ask me which quarterback do you want, if afterwards you'd be like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, at first I would take Tua, but not now. All right, Paul says Pickett will be hell with tight end Bowers, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, what the problem is the Eagles are, I think, the top team against opposing tight ends. I got Bowers is on my bearish list this week because of that. Let me double check here. They're ranked third best against opposing tight ends. So that's what makes it a tough matchup. And it's in Philadelphia. There's like a polar vortex from hell coming through. Yeah. So, if it is Kenny Pickett, we know about his tiny hands. So I hope he's wearing some warming gloves and, like something, but not that Bowers. And like I said, I've been putting this caveat out there. It just doesn't mean that the player isn't going to do good. I always just like to highlight some of those players that you might want to that have bad matchups. So it's a tough matchup
because he's and the thing is, Bowers is really their only real threat, right? I mean, they don't have a big threat wide receiver, do they? Or they got the running back from Boise State and
Ashton Genty,
which I'm surprised they haven't featured him more, to be honest.
I think there were some design problems earlier in the year where like they were asking him to do some different stuff, and he's had a few better games the last couple of weeks. I don't have all the numbers right off the top of my head, but he's been doing a little bit better. But I think it's tough too when you're already one of the worst team in the NFL, so it's easy to kind of key on. And Bowers was out for 3 or 4 games, so they got rid of Jacoby Myers, so it was like hey Rook,
come on down.
You got Geno Smith running off the field and flipping people off, so it's a mess over there.
Hey, what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas.
Not when you're on the NFL field, guys. Come on.
Exactly. All right, so let's end this here on what we think is going to happen Sunday. And this video is coming out here probably tomorrow, but there is a slight chance, a very, very slight chance that the Bengals could pull this off. I do believe and this isn't any homer thing. I do believe the Bengals could win the rest of these games. They could beat Baltimore, they could beat Miami, they could beat Arizona, they could beat Cleveland. They could win all. We see it's last Sunday. They should have beat Buffalo. Will they? I don't know. They could. Now, for them to actually get in this, the Steelers got to win one game, which very possible the Steelers could just go to tank, and because they've lost games that they should have lost. The Ravens, we're going to beat them. So then we just need them to lose one more game so they go 2-2. So if they go 2-2, the Steelers, I think there's a better chance the Ravens go 2-2 than the Steelers only win one game. But if that happens, I mean, it's like a 1 in 167 chance, according to Chat GPT. But there is a chance. But going into Sunday's game, I think we're going to win. I do. I mean, it's going to be cold as hell. It's going to be a run game a lot for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson has not been the same. I think Joe Burrow they've seen him play in the cold. As long as this defense makes plays like they did in Baltimore, we can win this game. Well, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you said, they won in Baltimore, by 18, right? 18 points.
Mm-hmm.
So we know what they can do against the team. It's only been a week and a half. So less than 2 weeks, or no, 2 weeks today. Right. So, we know what they can do. And like I said, I don't think the cold's going to affect as much as, some things can affect the wind, like in Buffalo. I think the wind can be crazy, right? Like that. If it's not super windy, it's going to, the cold's what it is. So, I look for Chase Brown to get back. He had a pretty bad game.
Yeah, hopefully he gets the right cleats or something. I don't know what was up with him last Sunday. He couldn't. I mean, he caught the ball fine. He couldn't run for some reason. It's like he had no traction for some reason.
Yeah, he didn't trust his plant at all. He was just kind of chop, and hoping that he could kind of find that get going. And once he could turn a corner, it just didn't happen for him. So he didn't look comfortable at all.
I'm not overlooking Baltimore. We could easily lose this game.
Which is crazy though, because Chase he went to college in Illinois. It's not like he was a warm weather guy.
And he's from Canada.
Yeah, he's from Canada. Come on, so you should be used to this. But yeah, he tied Jamar Chase last game with 7 receptions too. So I think they try and get that game going back again too, especially with it being cold. Right, try and loosen up the defense with some screens, get him on the move. Some of those different routes out of the backfield. My only worry is obviously on the defensive side is
make plays.
When you do get those, if they get Henry going downhill, right? It's tackling issues. If they come back, that's kind of the big issues. Do they let him rumble? And because there was a few in the last game where, like I said, even that likely one where like he was going down the field, we made some great plays and caused some turnovers, which is going to happen, but you can't rely that that's going to happen when you miss your tackles every time.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down. I think my prediction last year was 37-30. I think it's going to be about the same. It's going to be 37-30. We're going to score points on them. It's going to come down to the Bengals who makes the least amount of mistakes. And if the Bengals defense can get a stop and make a play, that's been the problem with this whole season is when they need the defense to make a play, most of the time they haven't. It's going to come down to that again. I guarantee you, Joe Burrow, it's going to be fine. If T. Higgins plays, Jamar Chase is going to be fine. I think our offense is going to be fine. Can the defense get enough stops? That's what it's going to come down to. If they can, and I think if they turn the ball over like they did last time against Baltimore, it's going to be a wrap. But I don't really see Baltimore turning the ball over 3 times or 5 times, or every time they turned it over last time. I don't really see that happening again. It's going to come down to defense making plays, and if the defense can make plays, I think we'll win. If we can't, we're going to lose.
Yeah, no, I would say, something along the lines of 31 to, 24, 28, kind of in that range. We got to score 30. I mean, I think you got to get to 30. That's our magic number.
And our MO, man.
Averaging, was it 30? We just said it 32.7 with Joe. So got to get to that number, get it right around that number. And you're going to give yourself that shot every time. It's just like you said, I think I can only remember the defense getting a stop when we needed it once, and that was against Jacksonville.
That was a while ago.
And that was a long time ago. So other than that, I think every time that we've needed it, they have it, right? That I can remember off the top of my head, obviously Bears, Jets, Bills, all just
so many
horrible like those.
We covered an onside kick in the Bears game and still freaking lost.
Like, come
I
on.
just can't get over that one.
If you look at somebody posted that their win percentage on the tracker, it was like they've been at 95 or 94+% in all three of those games at like a point in the fourth quarter, and it just went whoop.
It just dropped. It's like, oh my God.
We can change some odds, I'll tell you.
Vegas doesn't like us. Like, you bastard, you. All right, plug some stuff here, Mick, before I let you go, brother.
Yep. Obviously, Robert_Banker on Twitter. Come bring your fantasy questions. Fantasy playoff starting this week. Fantasy Bankroll on YouTube. I've been with the holidays. It's been a little crazy here. I've been liking to come on here. I get some of the questions out of the way too. But send me DMs. I put the YouTube on there, Fantasy Bankroll YouTube show. And like I said, check out the Bengals on the Brain website. I got Strawberry Ice Show gear on there. Bengals on the Brain. I got the Joe Goodberry redid the old Boomer One Cool Cat shirt. So we got those on the website. And I wore the Cincy hat today too, because I wanted to give a shout out to Ted Karras, Walter Payton, Man of the Year award for the Bengals. And obviously everybody knows the Cincy hat. Everybody's got a Cincy hat or Cincy hat gear. So if you've gotten a chance to know or meet any of the crew over there, Matt and the crew at Cincy Hats, they do a great job. So congratulations to them. Obviously Teddy does. You see, every time he's got free times, like Teddy's at a hospital or doing something. So seems like a great guy. I haven't got a chance to really get to talk to him too much other than just here and there. So
Teddy,
but yeah, so Fantasy Bankroll, come follow me on there. Come follow me on Twitter. Send your fantasy questions, and yeah, we'll get some answers. Fantasy, let's get them fantasy playoff wins in.
There you go. All right, brother. I will see you next Thursday. Who day?
Who day?
Now, hopefully Teddy will actually win the Man of the Year award this time, but they usually don't like voting for Bengals. And hopefully Ken Anderson actually gets into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's the finalist. We'll see what's going on. How many people? How many people you asked to sell your gear? A lot. You can buy the stuff on Chop Shop too. Hey, which Chop? You don't have to take it off of yours. Nobody's buying it, so it's on Chop Shop. It's on Goodberry. It's everywhere. So if you want some strawberry ice stuff, it's lots of places. Nobody's bought it. But like I said, hopefully Teddy wins the Man of the Year. That would be awesome. At least the Bengals will win something. But maybe, like I said, who knows? We'll see what happens Sunday. But come on down to More on Logger House if you guys are looking for a nice, warm place to tailgate, because it is going to be butt-ass cold Sunday. We'll be down there in the Fest tent, which is out in the lawn area, nice and heated, with a big stage. DJ will be playing. Food's in there. If you don't have a ticket, that's fine. You can come in. They have a cash bar there. You can buy beer and food and stuff in there. We'll be giving away some prizes. If you have a ticket, or if you want to get a ticket, go to the More on Logger House website. The Facebook page is the Best Day Brewing pregame experience at the More on Logger House. Get your ticket there. It's all inclusive. The buffet will be there. Nice and hot, warm food, delicious cold beer. Cold beer helps you warm up, so it'll be nice and warm. And if you, for some reason, decide you don't want to go to the game, you stay at the Fest tent and watch the game there on this big 6-foot screen we got inside. So it's going to be an awesome time. Stay there, get warm, come hang out and drink some Best Day Brewing beer, some More on Logger House beer, and have an awesome, awesome time. But thanks for watching. I've been live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch, and Instagram. Hello, Instagram. You can follow me on all those along with Threads and TikTok. And please check out my Substack. I hope you guys have subscribed to it. I haven't, like I said, I haven't wrote anything this week. I'm trying to get some stuff done, but this time of year is really rough because I'm working at UPS. I got to be at work I don't have to be at work. I think I can sleep in. I don't think I have to be at work till 1:30 a.m. today. So my part-time job for about a month goes to a completely full-time job. So I worked last night from 12:30 to about 8:30 this morning, somewhere around there. I think I left. I can't exactly remember. So I slept pretty much all day, got up, made the show, and did this. Now I'm going to chill out, hang out with my family, eat some dinner, probably take a nap, and go back to work. So I hope you guys enjoy your Christmas. I hope all your presents get there. Hope you guys have just a wonderful time. And by the way, check out the podcast. I'll be pulling this out later on tonight. It'll be on Beanpod, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Do me a favor. When you're going to work tomorrow and you're stuck in snow, listen to the podcast, because we don't have a morning local radio show that talks about sports. So check out my podcast. I greatly appreciate it. And let's get to my
All
sponsor.
right, shout out to my sponsors. They are Priority Lawn and Landscaping for all your lawn and landscaping needs. You need your grass cut, you need shrubbery trimmed, I don't know, you need a paper patio, you need anything. I mean anything. Landscaping required. Think Priority Lawn and Landscaping. Also, shout out to T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And of course, Meyer Window, Door, and more. I got it in my house. I highly recommend you get them in yours. They're energy efficient, great looking windows, easy to clean. Meyer Window, Door, and more. The website is MeyerCincinnati.com. And also, shout out to my favorite brewery, Moorline Lager House. Get on down there, get you some delicious Moorline beer, some delicious Moorline food. And tell them I sent you. Moorline Lager House.
Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. Tomorrow will be a Who Day Friday show. Dale should be on. The Godfather, Anthony Kazinza, should be on. Drink a beer. Have some fun. I'll see you tomorrow night. And remember one thing and one thing only. That's Who Day for life. Bengals World Order. That's just sports, baby. See ya!
Another great show. You guys still here? The show's over. You can come back tomorrow. I'm out of here. See ya.